The author says that it's not about how hard you fall, but it's about how gracefully you get up. Hello everyone, my name is Emily, and today we're going to do something different. I'm going to give you 5 ways that you can learn and let go of your mistakes. This video is actually helpful for me because literally about an hour ago I made an immature mistake. Okay, so what happened is I was in Walmart. Walmart recently did this thing where they have specific signs on the ground that tell you when to go in and when you shouldn't go in and you should go out. Like going through the aisles, you should enter this aisle, or it'll say no, do not enter, and then you are supposed to go the other way. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's what it was. So what happened was that I needed beans. I was trying to find the beans and I was looking, I wasn't really paying attention to the floor part. And before I turned in, my friend Renata said, oh, we're not supposed to go in that way. So she did good, but I, seeing the beans, I shouldn't even make excuses for myself. I basically went in anyway. And I actually was making a joke, but it's like now when I'm looking back, I just cringe that I did that. But I just joked and I just said, I mean, what do they expect us to do? They expect us to go all the way around and back to like make the direction correct. That's what I said. And when I said that, little did I know that there are people other than myself that are in the store and they can hear. And they heard what I said. She heard what I said specifically. And the woman then said her opinion, which was said in a very loud and getting onto you manner, and that's just how it was. I just heard someone say yes, and then I looked and it was her, and she said, yes, you are supposed to do that, and now as you see, you've come in the wrong way and I'm trying to get through, and you should turn your cart around. And then she said a bunch of other things that I don't know what she said, and she was still getting on to me while walking this direction. I'm walking this direction, pause. Immediately I say, I'm sorry. I don't even know what I said. I know I said I'm sorry, and then the rest, it didn't matter because she was talking, and then I turned my car around like she said, and she kept walking, and that was the end of it. And I could hear her venting about it in the same tone to her person or whoever she was with. So that's what happened. The rest of the shopping period, I was quiet and I was reflective, and I was going back and forth through different thoughts. First, I felt bad. I felt guilty. I even said it to Renata, and I said, well, she's right, I shouldn't have done that. And the other sides of me were thinking, oh, why did she have to yell at me? Why did she have to say it and yell at me while going the other way and not giving me a chance to say my piece? What piece did I actually have to say though? I was the one that made the mistake. And so then I was getting onto myself for feeling bad because I was the one that was at fault. If she had said it nicely, I most likely would still feel bad, and it catches you off guard. Nobody likes to be the person that's at fault. Nobody likes to be seen as a bad person. These were all these worries that I had. Then I had this question to myself. I was like, okay, I made a mistake. How can I just move on? Just recognize it as a time of learning and move on. I'm not that type of person that can do that. I dwell on things a lot. Yeah, so I looked it up. Very helpful for me, and I thought I would share it to anyone else that may be similar to me. And this person, I'll link the article below in the description. It's by Teresa J. Borchard. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. She had 8 ways, but I selected 5 of them that I thought were helpful to me. The first thing is to be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself doesn't mean like to not acknowledge what you did wrong, but instead it means if you have a fall, whether it be small or whether it be large, you can either dwell or you can choose another option. And that option is just to recognize that we mess up, that humans make mistakes. This is what happens. You have the right to just comfort yourself. You don't have to search for validation from other people. You can just actually comfort yourself. And 2 suggestions she gave on comforting yourself is actually hugging yourself, which I've never tried before, and I'm trying it right now. So yeah, you can do this, or you can write in a journal, which I've written in journals before, and it's always helpful. And writing these tips down on a piece of paper helped me a lot. The second thing that Miss Teresa said is concentrate on the rebound and not the fall. The author says that it's not about how hard you fall, but it's about how gracefully you get up. In my situation, it's not about dwelling on this event of how I did wrong or how I felt bad that she yelled at me. What it's about is like, did I learn from my mistake? She says, as a metaphor, remove the tail between your legs, it serves no purpose. I don't know if anyone knows what that means. I think it's mainly dogs. I don't know. But I know that my dog, if she's feeling bad, she'll put her tail in between her legs. For me, feeling bad doesn't right now serve a purpose. Okay, and the third thing is celebrate your cracks. So in the article, if you read it, she talks about something that has to do with Japanese art that has like a pot that has cracks, and it's more valuable when it has cracks. The part that I got the most out of that metaphor was she said, our mistakes allows us to become more interesting, sensitive, compassionate, and wise. I think in this situation, I would say that this mistake allowed me to become more wise and sensitive to people. I've had moments in my life where I think you need to be more sensitive to your surroundings and people. And yet again, I'm reminded of this. Number 4 is focus on your mistakes, not meaning dwell, but just focus on your mistakes and see them as valuable. So even though it's painful to revisit the errors that we made, it still holds value to help us in other aspects of our life for the future. So that's what it means by focus on your mistakes. And then the author kills it again with a quote by Henry Ford that I think is really good. And apparently he said, the only real mistake is the one from which we learn nothing. That's also self-explanatory. I thought that was very helpful because I definitely learned something. And the last way to learn and let go of your mistakes is to find the silver lining. It's not always obvious in the moment, but if we pay closer attention, we can see how a moment in our lives can be the universe, whatever you believe in. For me, it's God, so I'll just use God. God's way of directing us to where we're supposed to go and who we're supposed to become. So that's very comforting for me because I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And so if I look at it that way, this was just a way for God to help me become a better person. I'll never become a better person if I stick to the way I am. In order for me to change, sometimes that requires someone else to tell me where that change needs to be. And so I'm going to end this with 2 Bible verses that I thought were very nice and comforting. So the first one is James chapter 3, verse 2, where he says, for we all stumble in many ways. And that goes back to the first one of being kind to yourself. We make mistakes. And then the last one is from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9, where he says, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore, I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. I hope that in some ways maybe this gave you some ideas that you didn't know before, or emphasized them, or maybe this actually helped you and you had a similar situation like I did, where I've already told you the situation. That's it for the video. Click subscribe if you would like to see the videos that I post, and click the like button if you enjoy this video, and hit the little bell if you would like to be notified whenever I have a new video, because there will always be a new video at some point. Okay, until next time. Bye everyone, bye.